Hello and welcome to what episode is this? 26 of the Sarah Seams podcast. My name's Sarah and I'm coming to you from Columbus, Ohio, where I live with my partner Troy and our cats Alex and Moo. Moo is in here with me right now, so maybe he'll make an appearance, who knows. This is my little corner of the internet where I share all about my crafty projects. It's mostly knitting, but occasionally some sewing and quilting mixed in. And today I have knitting, crochet, and one sewing project to share with you all. So that said, you can find links for everything I talk about in the podcast today and all of my social media down below in the description box. And if you have any questions about those things or if I forget a link, please just leave me a comment and I will add that if I can. All right, so jumping right in because it's been about 3 weeks and I have lots to share today. I am wearing my first finished object. So this is my Moonflower Pullover by Sari Nordland. Let me stand up so you can see it in all its glory. So this is a newer pattern from Sari. Sorry if you see me looking over, I'm just looking over at my notes here. So I made size 5, which was about a 55-inch bust, giving me about 11 inches of positive ease. And it did come out just about right on spec. So I knitted mine with a fade. So I had this set of 5 skeins of faded yarn from Tanis Fiber Arts. This is their Pure Wash worsted base. And I used them in this sweater and I love how it turned out. It was my first time doing a fade. I think it's fun because the first color, the darker pink, which has a lot of really nice variegation, and the last color, the slightly darker green, are a bit more stark, so you can see where they're fading in. It's a bit more stripy, but then the middle 3 colors, this lightest pink, this blue, and this lighter green, fade so nicely. So I kind of love how there's that variation in it. I love the cables, so beautiful, this center cable, and then these more simple cables on the side, as well as the seed stitch. I just think the texture with the fade looks so good. I love how it turned out. I didn't have quite enough yarn to do a full-length sleeve, but I think it looks cute with these like 3/4 length sleeves. And you can see there's a cable detail on the sleeve as well. Here's the side. One alteration I did make was to add a split hem. So you can see the cable on the side just continues into the split hem. And then here's the back. And I love this seaming detail on the back shoulder. I think that's so nice. So yeah, I love how it turned out. It's so nice to wear. The drape is really nice. The other thing I did change on this was omitting the double folded collar. So because I knew I was going to be short on yarn, I decided to just do a single layer collar, and I did knit it a little bit shorter than the pattern suggested. But yeah, I love it. I just about rolled over Moo if you heard that. But yes, super pleased with this beautiful new garment pattern from Sari Nordland. And it knit up surprisingly quickly, which I can't tell if it was just because I couldn't put it down, because the combination of the yarn and the fade and the cables just like really held my interest. But it is also worsted weight, so it does knit up fairly quickly. Sorry, Moo's distracting me. Also, I apologize if I'm coughing a bit throughout the video. I did have the flu a couple of weeks ago and I'm still getting over it. So I do apologize for that, but might have a bit of a cough here and there. So that is my first finished object. I'm so pleased with it. I see more fades and cables in my future and I loved this project. All right, next up, I have a sewing project to share with you. So on the past few episodes, I've been sharing the progress on my bow patchwork dress, my Alicia dress. This is a pattern by Roberts Wood Design Studio. And I was making it for a wedding that we went to last weekend in New York. It was a fancy black tie wedding and I did finish it and I did wear it to the wedding. So I'm just gonna put a picture in here of me wearing it. I am absolutely thrilled with how it came out. I kind of had a bit of a panic moment towards the end when I was sewing the skirt because it was so big and so much fabric, and I was like, is it too much? Like, even to wear to this black tie wedding, like, is it just too over the top? Like, am I gonna look crazy? But I actually, once I attached the skirt to the bodice, it all kind of came together and I ended up loving how it looked. So I had initially also made a slip to wear under it, but when I tried it on with the slip, it felt a little too covered up and like matronly. Like, a lot of the point of this dress is to have this sheer moment. So I decided to ultimately just wear a bralette under it and some bike shorts, which is how I'm wearing it in the photo, and I think that was perfect. I just had this little navy blue bandeau bralette that I could wear under it that I also made actually a long time ago. And yeah, I think I loved it so much. I got a lot of compliments on it. It was really fun to dance in it in the big skirt, and I think it was a huge success. It was a massive project because I also added, so the main skirt, or the main pattern, has a shorter skirt, and then there is an extension to the pattern that has additional length in the skirt. So I made the extra long skirt, and those skirt tiers towards the bottom, it feels like they're like 10 yards of fabric. Like, it's so much fabric. And every seam had to be sewn, serged, pressed, and stitched down. So there was a lot of sewing, but it really turned out, I'm so happy with how it turned out, and it was a really fun thing to make. So the only other thing that I changed on this is the bottom hem. As I said, it was like almost 10 yards. It was insane. It recommended a double turned hem. The hemline is also very curved, and if you've never sewn a curved hem, especially if you do a double turn, like a ½ inch and then ½ inch again, they can get very ripply, and that's a bit challenging. And I just frankly was not willing to do that. So I ended up just doing a tightly serged hem. And that just finished the edge really nicely. It was super lightweight and minimal finish, and I was really happy with how that turned out. Otherwise, this is to pattern. Moo is nuzzling the camera stand. I apologize. So yes, there it is, the giant sewing project, but it's really got me wanting to make some more of their patterns. They have a patchwork shirt that's really cute that I bought the pattern for, so I might try and make one of those this spring. And I can talk a little bit more about the wedding at the end of the video. So that is the bow patchwork dress all wrapped up. Next, I have 2 finished pairs of socks. So the first are my D20 DK socks that I was using the leftovers of my scrappy advent for. And let's see, I think this was the first one I had finished. So just holding 2 strands of yarn together and using a 20-sided die to pick the colors and how many rows. And I did finish the second one as well, which is here. So here they are together. They are sisters, not twins, definitely not. This one has like a huge pink stripe, but I think they're really fun little mismatched socks. I love making these. They're so fun and they're so nice to wear. Yeah, not too much to say about them. I did have quite a bit of these yarns left over still when I finished these, and I will show you at the end of the whip section what I use those for. But yeah, this is just my basic DK vanilla socks, 48 stitches. There's about 2 inches of 2x2 rib, 1 inch of leg, and then right into the foot. So this is kind of like an ankle sock length. I've been making a lot of socks this length lately just because I found that I enjoy wearing them a lot. Yeah, very fun, very pleased with these. Okay, next up. So I started and finished these on our trip to New York for the wedding on the drive, and I'm obsessed with them. So Summer Lee recently released this pattern. These are the DK version of her hibernal socks. And let me just show you one here. Look at the texture. Oof, they look so good. So yeah, this was my New York road trip knitting project. Excuse me. I did finish both of them. Like I said, in the car, these were amazingly quick, even for a DK weight sock. Did I say Summer Lee, if I didn't say that. Summer Lee Designs. This is her pattern, one of her newest patterns. She recommends knitting the leg to about 7 inches. I did mine to 5 just because that's what I prefer, but I just think the stitch pattern looks so beautiful in this yarn. Moo has just jumped behind the chair in the corner, so we'll see what comes of that. I'm sorry for all the Moo updates and distractions, but I figured if I let him in, maybe he wouldn't yell the whole time. We're trying something new. Anyways, so this beautiful yarn that I used was a skein of the Croft DK. This is 100% Shetland Islands wool. And I picked this up from a local yarn store when they were having a sale, so I got a really good deal on it. The color is, let's see, Maywick, and it's just this beautiful soft pink. It's, like I said, 100% Shetland wool, so there's no superwash, there's no nylon. These are beautifully soft and light and warm. I will probably just wear them around the house, probably not with shoes because there's no nylon in them, but I think the color is stunning. The texture just really pops in the DK. And like I said, the Shetland wool, it's just so soft and airy, and I really, really love how these turned out. And I think using this solid color just gives you even more credit for that beautiful stitch pattern. It's a faux cable, so there's actually no cabling in these. Really, really fun. Would definitely consider making another pair. And I think I knit each one of these in like one sitting, basically. One of them I did over 2 days, but they're incredibly fast. Like, honestly, I feel like these were faster than like these, like, which doesn't necessarily make sense, but really enjoy knitting them. Really quick, really beautiful sock, very satisfying project. All right, last but not least, FO is one for Troy. So I finished Troy's Anker sweater. I was really focused on this. This was the other project I brought to New York with us, and I was very focused on it there. And after we got back, busted out the sleeves, got it done, and got it blocked, and it's finished. So I'll put in a couple pictures here, excuse me, of him wearing it while I'm talking about it. And then I have it here to show in person as well. So this is the Anker sweater men's version. This is a pattern by Petite Knit. I'm sorry. I don't normally like to knit petite knit patterns for myself because I find that her women's patterns are not particularly size inclusive. But for kids patterns and men's patterns, I've been a little bit more willing to try them out. I knit the size 4 for Troy, so he had a 40-inch chest measurement. The pattern recommended 2 to 4 inches, 4 inches of positive ease, I think, or 4 to 5. Anyway, I knit the size 4, which was a 45-inch circumference. So mine did end up being 46 inches, so it ended up just being slightly bigger. I used the Sandusgarn Mini Alpaca Held Double. The color is dark terracotta. And, oh, I'll be right back. He got stuck behind the chair and needed to be rescued. I'm sorry about that. Okay, what was I saying? Yes, so I had initially started a different sweater for Troy like over a year ago in this yarn. Fingering weight, just holding a single strand, and frogged it. It just wasn't the right pattern. So I decided to knit this instead, but then I needed to hold the yarn double. So it all worked out. I did have to order a little bit more yarn, but I was able to get the same dye lot and everything. So it worked out just fine. So I have some thoughts about this pattern. Let me show it to you. So here it is. I think the color is beautiful. I think the yarn's beautiful. In hindsight, 100% alpaca was probably not the best choice for Troy's first sweater. It is heavy, it is very drapey, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful yarn. It has a lovely luster to it. It's nice to wear. However, it does have quite a few guard hairs, which makes it a little bit itchy, but does give it this really lovely halo. So probably not the best yarn choice to start out with. I've done the best I could with what I had. So the yoke was super fun to knit. It's just these really simple bands of ribbing with increases, round yoke, very beautiful, very fun to knit. So you knit the round yoke, and then there is a set of raglan shaping. The pattern does not include short rows, but I knew I would want short rows to raise that back neck. So I added short rows to the back after the raglan shaping was complete. So there are short rows added here. Oops, sorry for the dinging. Yes, so I added short rows after the yoke and raglan increases were finished to bring up that back neck, which is not something I've done before, but just kind of figured it out because I felt like that was really important to have for a better fit. And I'm so glad I did because it does really help with the fit. And I kind of can't believe that it's not included in the original pattern. Then I just knit the body, just compared it to a sweater Troy had that he really loved. The recommended body length in the pattern is really long. Like I think it was like 5 inches longer than what I knit. And I knew that because this was alpaca, it was gonna grow, and it did end up just the right length. It could have been like probably half an inch shorter, but I knew it was gonna grow, so that was fine. So I shortened that significantly. Now, where I really had the issue with this pattern, the first thing, was the sleeves. So you put the sleeves on hold when you're knitting the body, and then you go back, pick them up, and knit them down. And so the first time I tried to knit the sleeves, I just knit the sleeve to pattern because I was getting gauge on the body and the yoke, no problem. So I just knit the sleeve to pattern. It was so enormous and long. It was hilarious. So I'm sorry. Here is a picture of the first sleeve on Troy before the cuff was even added, because I just knit it in like a frenzy in like one day. And then I was like, this looks really big and really long. I need to try this on him. Look at it. It's so comical. It is like an elephant trunk. It's absolutely massive, like huge width-wise, and so long. Like Troy has really long arms too, and it was hanging over his hand by inches. So I had to rip out the entire sleeve and basically make up my own sleeve decrease and pattern to get it to fit him. So you can see here, I did a really rapid set of decreases right at the beginning, right here, to reduce about 4 inches from the width of the sleeve. I mean, do you see how wide that is from here to the underarm? So I took out a significant amount of width. Then I did some more slow decreases from there to about here, and then just knit straight and knit the cuff. And they ended up knitting him fine. There's quite a bit of extra fabric at the top of the arm and the underarm still, but yeah, I had to completely re-knit the sleeve to my own specifications to get it to fit like a normal sleeve. It was hilariously large. So then fine, I finished the sleeves, I blocked it, we put it on him. The body did grow a bit in length, but not a ton. But the thing that bothers me the most about this, because the sleeves ended up fine after I made the alterations, the yoke is just too long. And I think now that I've knit this pattern, going back and looking at photos of other people that have knit it or knit it for their partners, the yoke is just way too long. And you can see this in a lot of the other photos on Ravelry. On Troy, the underarm is probably about 3.5 inches lower than it should be. So it almost feels like a dolman on him, like a bat wing, you know, like it's just way too deep. Like basically where the ribbing ends should be where the underarm ends. It's like the raglan increases were just like totally unnecessary. So it's definitely not perfect, but I'm glad it's finished. Troy really likes it. The color looks great on him. I think it's definitely a little big in the body. The yoke is too long. So I think next time, I don't think I'll knit this pattern for him again, just because I wasn't very happy with it in the end. But I definitely could have gone down a size, so maybe that's just something to note for next time. I also think my yarn and this pattern weren't like the best marriage, but I really wanted to use up this alpaca yarn that I had. So I would say in the end, for the first garment I've made for Troy, I'm happy with it. I think he'll definitely wear it, even if it's just around the house. It looks nice on him. I'm glad it's done, but it's definitely not a complete success. So learned a lot. You know, knitting for him is very different from knitting for myself. He obviously has much longer torso, much longer arms. wider shoulders and then like tapering to a narrower body. So I definitely learned a lot knitting this for him and some things I can take into the next project. And yeah, hopefully I won't ever end up with a gigantic sleeve again. So that's it for finished objects for this week. Let me pause here and grab my whips. Okay, I have 5 whips to share with you today, 4 knitting and 1 crochet. So I'm gonna start with the socks that I'm currently working on. And these are really fun. I've been having so much fun working on these. So I saw a couple of things that inspired this project. So I saw, I think Jamie is her name, at Pacific Knit Co, posting about her new Valentine's doodles. So this is basically a concept where she designs like all these little colorwork motifs and then publishes them, and they usually have a theme. So I bought the Valentine's pack and cut out all the different motifs I wanted to use and basically made these little Valentine's Day charts. So I actually have 2 and they're inverse. So there are dark with light motifs and light with dark. So I made these 2 inverse charts. So we have little hearts, we have the swans, flowers. The heart-shaped sunglasses are like my favorite, little X's and O's, some wine bottles, love letters, and then I heart you at the bottom. And there are so many motifs that come in these packs. So I bought both Valentine's Doodles packs and then just kind of picked and chose. The first one has a lot more of the like hearts and flowers and like little traditional motifs. And the second one has a lot more of the more like whimsy motifs, like the swans and the sunglasses and the wine, etc. So they're really fun to combine. So that was the first part of this. Then I saw that local yarn shop and dye studio, Dye Mad Yarns, was doing a wine-inspired collection of yarns and minis for Valentine's Day. And they had a mini set that had all 6 colors, and they were ranging from like Chardonnay to Merlot, you know. So I bought the mini pack, and maybe I can just put a picture of it in here if I can find it. And because I thought that it would be perfect to knit these like super over Valentine's Day socks. And the reason I really wanted to do this was because I'm working on a colorwork sock design, and I actually haven't knit any all over colorwork socks before. So I thought I would try that out in the most over the top possible way and just get some more practice in before I started working on my own design. So let me show you the one that I finished, because this was truly a labor of love and I'm obsessed with it. You guys, I can't even. It's so stinking cute. Okay, so the cuff and the toes are the darkest color, the Merlot. Then I used the 2 tones of pink for the hearts. This is the version that has the black swans. Look at their little pink beaks. I can't. The little flowers. Here are the heart-shaped sunglasses. How stinking cute. X's and O's. We've got the wine bottles and glasses. The little Puri motif, the love letters, and then finally I heart you. And then the heel is an afterthought heel, which it was my first time trying that out, and it was the more like medium pink color. I mean, how adorable. I'm very proud of these. So also, because I didn't even realize I was jumping in, I just got carried away and was so excited planning. A ton of these are 3 color work, which I've never done, period, let alone in a sock. So for the swans, I actually did the little beaks as a duplicate stitch. So this was just 2 color, but like this heart-shaped sunglasses were 3 color. The wine bottles were the most challenging motif because they were 3 color work and they're very linear. And so they did tend to, that is definitely the tightest part of the sock. But I think since it's on the foot, it worked out. They fit just fine. And then this section also was 3 color work. So these were complex. I was also worried at first that they were a bit too long. It's definitely a bit longer in the foot than my normal sock, but it worked out just fine because the color work made it a little bit tighter. The fit is really good. I will also say the repeats of these charts are need to be just divisible by, I think it was 24. So this is a 72 stitch sock, but I used a size 2.25 needle. So normally for a 64 stitch sock with color work, I would use at least a 2.5 needle, but I was worried about them being too big since I had to go up to 72 stitches to accommodate the motifs. So I did go down that needle size and they fit perfectly. So I'm so pleased with them. The afterthought heel ended up being a bit of a challenge. So I did knit the whole thing, all the color work, just like in a tube, and then knitted the toe because I wanted to try the afterthought heel. So if you've never done an afterthought heel, which I had not, this was my first one, basically you just put your needles back into the work, and then like on top and bottom of the row that you're going to cut open to add the heel, cut it open, and then you basically knit the heel just like you knit the toe, but it's in the heel instead. Now, I looked up a tutorial for this and just didn't follow it. Trust me when I say follow the tutorials when they tell you to put the seam. So, you know, when you're doing color work, you always have a jog where you're carrying the yarns and starting a new row. Every tutorial said, make sure that's on one of the sides where you're gonna put your heel. Make sure it's on the inside. And I thought, no, I think I want mine to be at the back instead. So I just did that, not thinking that then where I had carried my yarns over, I would be cutting that open. So I cut through my carried yarns and it ended up with all these like short little yarn tails that I then had to like literally sew down to keep them from fraying. So that was a nightmare. And if you're not sure what I'm saying, it's okay. Just make sure you follow the instructions. You know, when you're doing your heel. I almost said destructions because that's a running joke that we have at our house that Troy doesn't like to read the instructions for anything, and he calls them destructions because he just destroys things. Anyway, so yes, the heel was a bit of a challenge because I didn't do it right, but I will on the next one do it the suggested way. And as I said, this whole sock was a learning experience anyway, so in the end, I'm obsessed with how it looks. It fits very well, and I am so excited to work more on the next one. Obviously didn't finish them in time for Valentine's Day, but the way I've been knitting socks the past couple years is I just knit them all and then give them to myself the next year. So I will be excited to wear these for Valentine's Day next year. And the wine collection colorways look so, so cute in here. So basically there's 2 shades of the darker purple, 2 shades of pink, and then there's a lighter yellow and a darker yellow. So yeah, super fun, love these. I did start the next one, but I haven't made much progress at all. I just have the cuff and the first couple rows of color work, so I do need to get some more work done on those. But yes, very, very fun project. The doodle packs are super fun. I could see knitting more of those in my future. I'm gonna set this over here. Okay, so that's the only socks I'm working on right now. Sorry, I keep nudging the camera. Next few are garments. So I'm just gonna do a really quick check-in on my Ursa by Jacqueline C. Slack. I haven't worked on it a ton, but I am still going on it and it's close to being finished. So I had thought I might have this finished for this episode, but I ended up working more on Troy's sweater instead. So I think this one will be finished in the next couple of weeks. So I'm knitting size 5. That's a 50-inch finished bust, giving me about 6 inches of positive ease. And here it is. So the body is all done. I think that was done last time. And I've just started working on the first sleeve. So just got to finish up the sleeves and then give it a block, and this guy's done. The yarn is Echo View Fiber Mills Ranger Base, which is a bulky merino single. It's really soft and nice. Unfortunately, the mill has closed and the yarn is discontinued, but it is really beautiful to work with. So just a quick check-in on that. I hope to have that finished this week or next week. I'm going to Chicago this week to hang out with some friends. I might bring this and try and get it finished while I'm there. Okay, next to our new cast-ons, both very exciting. So, apologies, let me take a drink. I was influenced into joining the Big Cup Club by all of my coworkers. This is not a Stanley cup, it's an Awala cup, but I still feel like I was peer pressured. Are you a fan of the Big Cup? Are you in the Big Cup Club? I have to know. Okay, so 2 new sweater cast-ons for myself. The first one is very exciting. They're both very exciting. So Sari Nordland, one of my favorite designers, again, designed the sweater I'm wearing now. She is hosting a poetry knit-along. So a knit-along for any of her poetry patterns, which includes like 2 or 3 different sweaters, socks, scarf. I think there's a bunch of different patterns. And she's doing this because Taylor Swift announced her new album, The Tortured Poets Department, is going to be coming out on April 19th. So it was perfect. I've been wanting to knit the poetry sweater for years. I think I recently talked about possibly doing that as my birthday cast on later this year, but when Sari announced the cowl, I just felt like there could not be a more perfect time. Let's do it now. And the yarn makes it even more perfect. I'll put a picture in of what the sweater looks like so you can see. It's this beautiful all over lace design. I love this lace. I've made the socks with this pattern before, and I'm going to be knitting the mohair version. So fingering weight wool held with mohair, and the yarn makes it even more perfect and Taylor Swifty because I am using Camellia Fiber Co.'s Midnight. So, and it's Midnights. How good, it's combining the last album and the new album. It's perfect. I'm not like the biggest Swiftie in the world, but I do like her music. So I think it's very fun and I'm excited to participate in the cowl. So yes, I am using Camellia Fiber Co.'s Organic Merino Fingering, 100% organic merino wool. This is their seasonal color Midnight. It's a beautiful, like soft blue-gray kind of. And I'm holding it with their mohair in the same color. It's 72% kid mohair, 28% silk. So these two are becoming my poetry pullover. I almost called it the Midnight Pullover. So let me show you what I have. Not a ton, but I've put a decent chunk in it. Apologies. So here's what I have. It's hard to tell because it's on a fairly small circumference needle right now, but you can see this neckband will be folded over. So it'll be more like that, but I haven't been able to sew it down, so it's pretty long right now. The cats are running around outside. And yes, so I've just kind of finished the first lace motif. So you can see that starting to appear there, and that looks pretty good. I feel like I'm always like trying to see, but it only matters that you see. So yes, it's coming along. I just absolutely love this lace motif. I'm guessing I'm probably about halfway through the yoke actually. And you know, lace never really shines until you block it. So very excited about this. The color is beautiful. The pattern is beautiful. It's soft, it's fluffy. I love it. Very excited. So the cowl ends on April 19th. Which it's almost March, so I do need to get a move on this. I don't know if I'll be able to finish it in time. It's a lot of knitting. This is definitely the most labor intensive of all the poetry patterns because it has the lace motif on the entire body and the sleeves. So mine will be a more cropped version, but still that's a lot of knitting. So we'll see if I can finish it in time. I'm not gonna like kill myself to finish it in time, but I am really enjoying it and I might work on that more later today. The lace is, I think, easier than you might think. There's nothing crazy in it. It's really just increases and decreases in yarn overs. There's no like really tricky stitches or anything. And it's fairly easy to memorize as well. There's quite a few rows where it's mostly knit. So yeah, it's really, I think it looks stunning, but it's really not a super complicated lace. The repeat is fairly long, but it's definitely not, I don't think it's as intimidating as maybe it looks. So yeah, I'm knitting size 5 also in that. Okay, next one, also very, very fun. So I recently got my hands on the last issue of Pom Pom magazine. So sad to see them go. I really loved reading these, and they always had such interesting patterns and themes. So I'm really sad that they're not going to be publishing the magazine anymore, but I definitely wanted to have the final issue, and I had to knit this sweater from the cover as an homage. Like, I wanted to knit it already anyway before they announced it was going to be the last issue, but I cast it on immediately. So yes, I am knitting the Fortuna's Wheel pullover, which is the cover design here. It is this crazy optic colorwork pattern. The pattern is actually knit with a mostly cotton yarn. It is a blown like chainette yarn that is mostly cotton and I think like 10% alpaca, which I wouldn't have expected looking at it, but I am not using that yarn for mine. I am using Barocco Lannis, which is the worsted weight. It's 100% Peruvian Highland wool. This is in an absolutely horrible state for me to show it to you right now, but I'm gonna try my best. Here's what I have. It is like a mess. So you're not gonna see the color work very well because it's bunched up on small needles, but here's a sleeve, for instance. You can see this really nice raglan detail. So I'm trying to even show you, like, this is the front. Here's the front. So I got a little bit into the body and decided I wanted to do the neck. So that's why I have the body on needles and the neck also on needles that don't even have stoppers on them. So I am right now working on the neckband. It is 2x2 corrugated rib. So the white stripes are knit and the black stripes are purl. I think so it recommends to knit like a few more rounds than this, but I don't want the neckline to be too high on me, and in the model images it does look quite high. So I might stop mine here, and then there's just a little bit of a rolled over cuff in the black. So I think I might just do that and call it there, so it's a little bit more out here instead of being like right up on my neck. But yes, this has been very fun to knit. It is not a beginner friendly pattern, I will say that. Here's maybe a better little section of the color work for you to see. So the black squares are actually purled, which I didn't realize in the pattern. And to be honest with you, in the black, I don't know that you get that much credit for it. It gives a really nice texture, but I don't think visually you get a ton of credit for that, but we'll see in the end. So yes, this is not a beginner friendly pattern. You start with several provisional cast-ons. You basically, normally for a sweater like this for short rows, you would kind of like knit flat back and forth across the back in one piece and then do your short rows and then join in the round and continue. Not here. You knit one shoulder piece with a provisional cast on, then you knit the other shoulder piece separately with a provisional cast on, then you join them in the middle with another provisional cast on, then you join it to the front. So there's like 5 different pieces at one point. You're knitting color work flat back and forth, which I've never done before. And it also has the corrugated ribbing, which I've never done before. It's not hard, but the color work flat, I definitely had to get used to. I definitely made a few mistakes. I think, where is it? Here, right here on the back, you can see where I accidentally carried a float on the outside and it's interrupting my raglan seam. So I might go back in and do a little duplicate stitch over that in the end. At least that's, nope, that's the front. Yep, that's right on the front. Thought it was on the back, but it's on the front. So I may or may not go back and fix that later, but it would have to be with duplicate stitch at this point. So yeah, once you join in the round, it's really not bad. It's obviously all over color work, stranded color work, but here's the back. Again, it's very bunched up right now because it's on a smaller needle, but I do think it's gonna block out really nicely. I loved the classic black and white combo, so I just decided to keep that for mine. It is chunky, I will say, in this yarn. It will be a very thick, very warm sweater, but I think super fun and impactful. So yes, I've been chugging right away on this one. Since joining it in the round, it's been going pretty quickly. I did just want to get the neckband on because I think that always helps to get a better idea of how a design is going to fit and how it's going to look. So apologies. Yeah, that is my Fortuna's Wheel pullover. I've seen a couple of these on Instagram. People are finishing them already. So like I said, it's worsted weight. It is fairly quick once you get going on it, but the beginning is a bit crazy. It's a bit challenging. So honestly, I think the pants, like if you love this pattern, but you don't know about knitting color work in the flat and doing all this shaping, I think the pants would probably be easier. It's just a tube in the round. You don't have to do any of that back and forth flat knitting. So yeah, if you love this pattern, maybe try the pants. I don't think I'm gonna knit the pants because I don't know if I could pull off the full head to toe of it all, but I think the pants are really cool. So yeah, if you want a little bit less challenging but love the pattern, maybe go for the pants. So yes, I will keep plugging away on that. And last but not least, I just wanted to update you on a fairly long-standing WIP that I recently put a lot of work into. So when I was sick, when I had the flu, there were some times where I could barely keep my eyes open, let alone get out of bed or knit or do anything. But what I did have the energy for most of the time was crochet. So I put a lot of work in on my crochet scrappy blanket. So yeah, here it is. It's getting pretty big. Nice little square. So I'm just doing a crochet granny square. It's just one giant granny square, started in the middle, working my way out. On each row I turn it, so half the rows are the right side, half of them are the wrong side, and that helps to keep it square. If you do them all in a row, all on the right side, it can torque it. Crochet just kind of does that. So by alternating it, it does help to keep it perfectly square. And I'm holding 2 fingering weight yarns together, just randomly picking scraps out of a bag. And we started getting some really fun color combinations by doing that. Got some hot pink in here. And yeah, so all the leftover scrappy advent yarns that I had after I knit the 2 pairs of D20 socks with them went in here. So I just added those in, and yeah, this is coming along really nice. It's getting pretty big now. It's definitely not blanket size yet, but I think I probably added 7 or 8 rounds, maybe even 9 in the past week or so, which added quite a bit of size to it. So yeah, I actually used up all the scraps that I had allotted for it. So now we just gotta get some more scraps. This is really fun project. I was like sad when I ran out of scraps, which tells me maybe I need to cast on some other crochet project, because it is really nice to have just like a simple crochet project when you don't want to have to think about what you're doing. So I don't know, maybe I'll cast on another crochet blanket. Am I about to be one of those people who has like 10 blankets on the go? It is very nice, so we'll see. That is it for WIPs. I will pause real quick and grab a few acquisitions. Okay, I have a few fun things to share with you for acquisitions today, and the first one is this book stand. So I was totally influenced by my friend Jess, who bought the same one and recommended it to me, and I'm obsessed with it. So I've been trying to practice knitting and reading this year and reading more hardcover books, and this thing is a game changer. So I set it on my desk, put my book on, it holds the book in place, and it helps to have your head up, like you can look up instead of having to look down at the table while you're reading. Highly recommend, game changer. I've been reading the Crescent City books, and I'll talk more about those in a minute at the end, but yeah, I'll have a link to this below. I just got it on Amazon, pretty affordable, really nice, game changer for knitting and reading. If you want to read physical books, and even a Kindle, it would be nice to just hold your Kindle up. So definitely recommend that thing, it's awesome. Next up, a book. So I got Summer Lee's new book, The Sock Project, and it is delightful. So I bought my copy from La Mercerie. I pre-ordered it a while ago. So beautiful. Summer did all the photography herself, which is amazing. It's just like the sock knitting Bible I've always wanted. You know, she starts with your basic sock recipe, but like toe up, cuff down, DK, fingering, all the different heel types. Just a great reference. Like, for example, when I wanted to try the afterthought heel, if I had had this, I think it would have been a great place to reference. I would next like to try the forethought heel, which I know is very similar. So I'll definitely be looking here for that. Really beautiful patterns. Lots of great tips. I haven't had a chance to read through the whole thing yet, but I definitely want to try some of these like faded socks just with some scraps that I have. I'm first gonna knit a pair of the simple DK rib socks, just inspired to do like a little pop toe color. And even for something like that I could knit without a pattern, sometimes it's nice to just have a pattern to reference if you don't want to have to think too much, you know? There's DK socks, socks with mohair. One of my favorite designs are these with the slip stitches. So cool. Yeah, textures. Sorry. There's a pattern in here that are similar to the Hibernal socks with that similar stitch, but then they have a texture on the front, which is really nice. I just think her colors are super inspiring. You know, the patterns are all beautiful, but I think like the color work, I particularly love this pair. I really want to knit those. That's super linear. Yeah, these. Super cool, like linear color work. I love those. Yeah, it's just a really beautiful book. Definitely recommend it if you can get your hands on it. It's another beautiful color work color pen. That's the most complicated one in the book, but so beautiful. So yeah, really happy to have this. As a sock knitter, I think you should have one. It's beautiful. I love Summer's work. I love her patterns. Excited to knit through a lot of these. Next, I have some yarny goodness. So a couple of things. I placed an order from my favorite secondhand yarn shop. It's called For the Birds. They haven't been updating as much recently, but whenever basically all the proceeds go towards their wild bird rehabilitation that they do, the owner, and yeah, she posted an update recently and I picked up a couple of things. First was this beautiful skein of DK. This is Coast to Coast yarn. It must be an older one because I don't recognize that label. They've definitely updated it since. The color is Toque Mycena. I'm not sure. I think it was a mushroom inspired color. It's from the Mush Club. Oh, February 21. Okay. It's their DK, 100% superwash merino. I love these colors. Super beautiful. It's not a color I like normally buy a lot of, but I've been knitting a lot of socks for Troy and I thought that he might really enjoy this color. So I picked that up. And then I got a summer yarn. Excuse me. So I got, I think 6 balls of this River Yarn Loop-de-Loop. And this is made in Italy. It's a 50-gram ball, 103 yards. And it is 90% cotton, 10% cashmere. So it's a very loosely spun yarn. It's so beautiful and soft. Very excited. I think I might make a summer ranunculus with this. I don't have a ton of yardage, but I think I would have plenty for that and it would be so soft and nice in that. So yeah, I think that's what this is going to be. It is unbelievably soft. Like cotton in this, this type of cotton is normally very, I can tell it's going to pill really badly, but it's like cotton and cashmere. It's just beautiful. So soft. I think I got all 6 balls of this for like 15 or 20 bucks. Like really excited to use that for a summer yarn. So when I placed my La Mercerie order for the summer sock book and actually the last issue of Pom Pom, I got there as well. I also got a sock set, one of their Year of Socks sets extras that they had, because, and this was actually what got me on the site in the first place because I saw it on Instagram and I was just obsessed. So this is the Through the Wardrobe Yarn Co. sock set. Look at it. It's so pretty. The colorway is Pirouette. This is their Romantasy sock base, which is perfect because I'm reading so much Romantasy right now. It's ridiculous. And yeah, Pirouette, it's ballet inspired. It is just this like beautiful, soft pastel pink with hits of purple, and then the little purple mini. I love it. Maybe I'll find like a very special pattern from Summer's book to knit these out of, some lace, something I just love these. Beautiful, soft, delicate, love. And I've been knitting a lot of socks this year, so I definitely still have sock yarn in my stash, but not like a ton. So if I'm gonna meet my goal of knitting 24 pairs of socks this year, I definitely will need to buy some more sock yarn. So last but not least is something I am so excited for. So I saw on Instagram recently someone, and I can't remember who it was right now off the top of my head, so I'll put it here on the screen and I'll put a picture of their cardigan in, because I saw this and I was instantly obsessed because I had just knit this. So like that variegated yarn and cables just has my heart right now. That combo is all I want to knit. Oh, excuse me, I just got like a little chill. I'm doing a lot of weird like coughing and I'm a mess today, but I still wanted to come and talk to you all, so please forgive me. Yes, so I saw this and I was in love with it. So Camellia Fiber Co., I think they reposted it because I'm getting ahead of myself. This is a special edition colorway from Camellia Fiber Co. called Love Camellia. It's this super soft light pink base with these bright neon pink speckles. And they only released it, like I said, it was a limited edition last year, and I think they this year brought it back only on Valentine's Day. So they did a pre-order on Valentine's Day. That was it. That was the only time you could get it. And I ordered a sweater quantity so because I want to make that exact cardigan. So here is mine. It's so good. So I think that knitter used the superwash worsted. I got the organic worsted, so this is the non-superwash version. You definitely still get a ton of credit for the hot pink, but it's not quite as in your face as the superwash version, which is to be expected, but I am trying to choose non-superwash when I have the option, and this is their 100% organic merino worsted base. It is so soft and light and plush, and I think it's going to be a dream to wear. I love the color. I was a little bit afraid in some of the photos it looked a little more peachy and a little more yellow, and that would not have been as good for my skin tone, but the one that I got is just this perfect soft pink. I think it's gonna look so good. I'm so excited. So I'm trying to decide now if I'm gonna knit that exact cardigan, which I think is the 3 Seasons cardigan by Wool and Pine, or the Billy cardigan by Nordland. I keep getting them confused. I keep going back and forth. So here's a picture of the Billy cardigan, which I think would also be beautiful. So maybe let me know down below. Do you think I should do the 3 Seasons cardigan, which has like a bigger cable and some lace also? Or do you think I should do the Billy cardigan, which has like the, the honeycomb cables, which would also be really beautiful. So yeah, let me know what you think. I'm so excited. I don't know when I'm gonna cast this on, but hopefully soon. It's so beautiful. I have 6 skeins of this. Very excited about that. So that is it for Yarny Goodness. I was just gonna do a little bit of chat here at the end. So first things first, you might have noticed I got a haircut. I have bangs. I have bangs now. I'm definitely still getting used to them, still like playing around with them a little bit, but I love them. For years when I was younger, went through the whole like bangs phase. Like I would have them, they would annoy me, I would grow them out, I would get them again, like every 6 months or so it felt, but I haven't had them for like 5 or 6 years, and I just wanted to refresh a little bit now that, the first hints of spring are coming. I'm sure a lot of people, like a lot of people did, got into kind of a rut like during the COVID years where I just wasn't putting as much effort into like styling my hair, and I kind of wanted to start putting a little more effort in. And having bangs, you have to put in a little more effort. You got to wash them more often. It's just kind of that extra little thing, and I do love how they look with my hair up, which I wear my hair up almost every day. So yeah, they've been really fun. I'm enjoying them, and yeah, I have bangs. They're fun. Yes, I also had the flu. So about 2 weeks ago from yesterday, no, Friday, a little over 2 weeks ago, I was just sitting at home at my desk and all of a sudden I got up and I was just like, whoa, like chills. It just kind of like hit me out of nowhere. No idea where I got it from. It just, yeah, I was in bed for like 4 days. And of course it was the week before we were supposed to go to New York for the wedding. So at first I was convinced I had COVID because it was all the symptoms of COVID, you know, body ache, sore throat, fever, coughing, just, it was awful. And I ended up going to the doctor and they tested me for everything and yeah, it was the flu. So I don't think I've ever had the flu in my adult life actually, and I hope I never do again because it was horrible. But I think in the end it ended up being lucky that it was the flu and not COVID, because if it had been COVID, I don't think we would have been able to go to the wedding, just not knowing like how long we were going to be contagious for. But with the flu, once you don't have a fever anymore for like 24 hours, I think you're not contagious. So we were lucky because Troy of course got it too. So luckily we were still able to go to the wedding. We were not 100% for sure. I still have a cough. I had a worse cough still then. I sounded awful, I know, and I was definitely felt bad like having that cough, but I knew I wasn't contagious and I didn't want to miss out on the wedding. So I'm so glad we still got to go. I wish we had been feeling 100%, but we still had a great time and I'm starting to feel better now. Troy's totally fine now. He gets over these things much faster than I do, but yes, so the wedding, we drove and picked up our friends in Pittsburgh on the way that were going to the wedding as well. We stayed in a tiny cramped hotel room a block away from where the wedding was in Williamsburg. And we just kind of walked over to the hotel for all the events. It was a stunning wedding. My friend, the bride, her dress was so beautiful. She was so beautiful. Such a great couple. I'm so happy for them, and everyone at the wedding were like people we went to college with, so it was kind of just like a huge fun college reunion, and it was so great to see everyone. It was a very upbeat wedding, like there weren't any slow songs or anything. It was just party the whole time, but it was so fun, and it was just great to see everyone. So really glad that we got to go, glad I got to wear my dress, and we had a great time. And yeah, last but not least, I'm still reading the second Crescent City book, chugging my way through it, probably finish it before the next podcast. I'm scared to start the third one. It seems like people aren't into it. No spoilers, please, but I don't know. I'm nervous about it. And I'm about to be reading all 3 Sarah J. Maas series at once. Like I'm deep in the Maasverse right now. So yes, I'm reading Crescent City. Because I'm reading those physical books because I wanted to practice the knitting and reading, and the audiobooks for those are only available on Audible, which I don't use. So I'm reading those physical books. I started listening to the audiobook of Throne of Glass, which is Sarah J. Maas' first series. And so far I have to say I'm kind of struggling to get into it. I'm finding it a bit slow, but I have heard from a lot of people that the first one is very different from the rest of the series and it's like worth getting into the later books, so I'm gonna finish it. Just kind of getting started on that one though. And I'm about to reread A Court of Thorns and Roses because my new favorite podcast, Fantasy Fangirls, who just covered the Fourth Wing series, are now going to cover ACOTAR. So I'm going to be rereading that as well. So yeah, if you're into these books, I recommend that you check out that podcast, Fantasy Fangirls. I'll link them below. They're really great. They do like super deep dives into all of these books. But yeah, I'm just having a fun time with the romantasy. It's just like pure escapism and really enjoying it. So yes, let me know what you're reading below. I'd love to hear. And I think that's all I have for you today. So I am hoping next time it'll be closer to 2 weeks instead of 3 before my next episode, but I am going to be traveling again this week. I'm going to Chicago, like I said, to visit some friends. So we'll see, but I will try to be back with you all again in the next 2 weeks or so. So thank you so much for joining me today and hanging out. I'm so happy to have you here. If you made it to the end and you liked the video, please like the video, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the YouTube things. It really does help us continue to grow this little community that we're building here. And yeah, I hope you get lots of crafty time in the next couple of weeks, and I will see you next time. Bye.